A few weeks back, one of my favorite YouTubers, Back in the Day Gamer, did a video where he talked about his most valuable games in his NES collection, according to price charting.
Yeah.
And at the end of the video, he challenged the rest of the community to publish their own lists if they were willing and able. And today I'm going to be rising to the challenge. These are the top 10 most expensive or most valuable games in my NES collection, at least according to price charting today. I know the prices kind of fluctuate from day to day. Now, before I get started, I just want to address something real quick. This doesn't really happen too much on my channel since I don't really get into the nitty-gritty details of my collection too much, but I have seen on other videos that there seems to be a faction of people who get really offended by other YouTubers talking about their rare and or valuable games, and they leave toxic comments accusing people of flexing, either flexing the stuff they have or flexing the money they clearly have to be able to afford said stuff, which just means they don't really know what they're talking about because they seem to think that we're buying these games at market value, which in itself is kind of weird because why would you be watching a video if you don't know or care about what's being talked about in the video? But that's what they do. I think they're just looking for reasons to be offended. So if you're someone like that and you've landed on this video by chance and you're tempted to leave negative comments, obviously do what you want. I'm not going to tell you your business, but I would invite you to at least consider that it might be okay for people to talk about the things that they're passionate about and they're interested in without your input. I know it's kind of crazy here on the internet, but if nothing else, I might suggest just skipping this video entirely. And let's see if there's anything else I can recommend here for you to watch. How about this one? Yeah, you might find that one interesting. But with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. I'm Mr. Matthews, and these are the top 10 most valuable games in my NES collection, according to price charting. Now, I bought most of these games in 2011, 2012, kind of in that range before the collecting craze really took off. And my strategy for buying games has always been to just try to get the best deal I possibly can at that moment. And then once I buy the game, I don't ever really think about its value ever again, unless it's just kind of shoved in my face for one reason or another. So because of that, I was honestly surprised by many of the games that popped up on this list when I was ranking them by value. And to be honest, most of the games are valuable only because they either include the box or they are actually complete in box. Starting with this one, which is the lowest valued game on this list because we're going in ascending order. And according to my notes, I bought Mega Man 3 complete in box in November of 2011 for the low price of $44.99. Now that was market value at that time. This was back when I was only looking to buy the games that I either had as a kid or wanted as a kid. I was only using nostalgia as a buying factor, so I didn't really care about the price of the games too much because I wasn't really planning on buying a lot of games beyond that. And at least according to price charting, the game has gone up by about $100. It's now valued at about $144, $145. And obviously that's kind of a generic price. They aren't taking, condition or quality into account. But I do have to say this box is in pretty sweet condition. It does have a few dings and scuffs here and there, but as you're about to see here in a minute, I'm not really too fussy about the condition of boxes. It's more important for me to own the games than it is to own them in mint condition. So, the fact that it's in good condition is just kind of a bonus. Which leads us to the next game, which is, you're gonna see a trend here, Mega Man 2. And I bought this game around the same time as Mega Man 3, December of 2011, for the low price of $39.95. And now, according to price charting, it is worth $146. So at least for right now, Mega Man 2 and 3 complete in box are valued at about the same price. And again, that is based on condition. And I do have to say that Mega Man 2 is looking a little sad. It's definitely been kicked around a bit. It's in good hands now, but whoever owned the game before me definitely didn't take super good care of it. But still, it is far from the worst looking box that I have on the shelf. But again, like I said, that doesn't really matter too much to me. I like just having the game. And this and Mega Man 3 were two of the games that I had as a kid. I love both these games. I love the Mega Man series, as most people know. So I, of course, have to have as many of the games as I possibly can complete in box. And, well, you're probably going to see a few more of them. Now this next game I didn't really buy. This was a gift from my sister and brother-in-law. This was Castlevania Complete in Box, which was a Christmas gift from 2012. They asked me what I wanted for Christmas that year, and Castlevania Complete in Box was really the only thing I could think of that I wanted, only because I'd been playing that game very heavily around that time. Obviously, I can't really speak to what they paid for the game, but I have to imagine, at least I hope, fingers crossed, that they did a little bit of bargain hunting and at least found the cheapest boxed game on eBay that they could at the time, which, I don't know, might have been 40, 50 bucks. Which is, of course, kind of a non-issue for me because the game as a gift is pretty much priceless. But according to PriceCharting.com, it does have a value of about 150 bucks. And here is another one from late 2011. It's pretty clear what I was up to around that time. That would be Mega Man 4. Now, I do vaguely kind of remember doing a bit of hunting for this one. I think the only boxed version I could find did not include the manual. And I thought, whatever, I don't really need the manual to play the game. And maybe I could find the manual loose on its own at some point in the future. And spoiler, I have not picked up the manual since then. I've looked it up a few times on eBay, hoping to find a good deal. There are no good deals out there for that manual. But according to my notes, I bought it off eBay for $29.99 in October of 2011, and now it is valued at $152. And this next game is the most recent game that I've added to my collection, and that would be Kid Icarus Complete in Box. And I got this last year at the Sacramento Gaming Expo, and this was the 5-screw version. I don't know if the 5-screw version is necessarily any more valuable than the 3-screw version, but the guy had it marked for $80, which was I think a pretty good price. And I didn't really want to pay money for it, but I did bring games to that expo to hopefully trade. So I had an extra copy of Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes on the GameCube. And as I recall, that was pretty much an even trade with the guy. And I don't know how much I paid for Metal Gear Solid on the GameCube. I want to say, knowing me, it was probably 20, 30 bucks. So you can say that I bought this game for 20, 30 bucks. And now, according to price charting, it's apparently worth $175. That is kind of surprising to me because, again, this was a vendor at a gaming expo and he had it marked for $80. So I don't know if it's actually gone up $100 in the past 3 months, or if he was just giving people at the expo a really good deal. He did seem like a nice guy. I don't know if he's that nice. I guess it doesn't really matter because I just wanted the game and I'm glad I didn't have to pay money for it. And side note, this is one of my favorite NES games. I don't know if it'd be my top 10, but it would be certainly in my top 20, maybe top 15. But this game also has some additional sentimental value to me. I worked with another YouTuber, Rewind Arcade, and we collaborated on a history of the Kid Icarus series on his channel. And I do have to say that video turned out really well. I really enjoyed working with Chris, and I will leave a link to that video in the description. I invite you to check it out if you haven't already seen it. Alright, and this will wrap up the Mega Man games we're going to see on this list. Mega Man 6 Complete in Box, and this box is minty, it's beautiful. I paid, looks like $54.99, that was a big spender, in December of 2011, so around the same time as all the other Mega Man games. At $54.99, this was definitely the most I paid for any of the NES Mega Man games. But right now, price charting has it valued at about $177. And spoiler, I was not able to find Mega Man 1 or 5 complete in boxes. I'll just have those games loose. So you will not be seeing those on this list. But I love Mega Man 6. I think it's one of the best games. No, I think it actually might be the best Mega Man game in the NES series, at least. If you haven't played it, you should probably go ahead and give it a spin. And I do go back and forth. Sometimes I actually do say that the Mega Man 4 is my favorite game in the Mega Man series. Sometimes it's Mega Man 6. They're all great games, even the ones I don't like as much, like Mega Man 5. I still think are better than most other games. So I'm a little biased. I just love Mega Man. I would love to one day have all 6 NES games complete in box, But barring some kind of really unexpected windfall stroke of luck, I just don't really see that happening. And this next game was a bit of a surprise. I definitely didn't expect to see it on this list. Wampum, complete in box, which I bought off of eBay. Yeah, it looks like the same time as all the other games, October of 2011 for $17 shipped. And now it's valued at about $195, which it's crazy. It's gone up by about, what, 900%? Did I do the math right? I guess it's kind of fitting that I bought this around the same time as all the other Mega Man games, because this is kind of a, I don't want to say a Mega Man clone, but it is very Mega Man-like. I may have bought this in 2011, but it wasn't until like 2022 that I actually played it and beat it. Great game. I definitely didn't expect it to be a value earner when I bought it for under 20 bucks years ago. But it is a really good game, so I'd be glad to have it even if it still was only worth 20 bucks. And now we're getting into the games that I've already talked about. I don't do a whole lot of collection videos on this channel, but I have done some of them. My first couple videos, in fact, were actually about the top 10 rarest games in my NES collection. And for whatever reason, I made that a 3-part series. And it was right at the end of 2022 that I released the third and final video in that weird trilogy I did. And that's where I talked about Mighty Final Fight. Now in that video, I explained that I didn't really buy this game, I just traded games for it. I in fact traded 3 games for it, Mario Party 2, Ogre Battle 64, and Legend of the Mystical Ninja. So I guess you could say that the price I paid for Mighty Final Fight was whatever I paid for Mario Party 2, Ogre Battle 64, and Mystical Ninja, which according to my notes was about 12 bucks. So there you go, I paid 12 bucks for it. And I don't really like beat 'em ups, but I do really like this game. And as it happens, I also like the video I made about this game, so I will also link that in the description. Now this next game is one I talked about in the very first video I made for YouTube, and that would be Metal Storm, again, complete in box. Now this was, at least at the time, the most I'd paid for any game in my NES collection, and I honestly don't know if I paid more than this for an NES game since then. I bought this for $72.95 in April of 2012. And I can tell you that that was a pretty good price for it back then. I did spend a while looking for this game and trying to get the best price. And now it is valued at, well, a little bit more than that, $405. And that is, of course, based, I'm sure, on condition. I'd rate the condition on this box as, you know, fair. No major tears, but plenty of scuffs and blemishes. It has these stickers, so I'm guessing it probably was a rental game at one point. So it's definitely not as in bad condition as it probably could be. It's definitely still in better condition than some of the other games I have. And the game itself is pretty awesome. I was not disappointed with the price I paid for it, even though it still took, I think, 10 years for me to actually get around and actually beat it. I think 2022 was the first time I actually played all the way through the game. I don't know if I'm $400 happy to add it to the collection, but $70 is a pretty fair price. If you can find it even loose for that, I definitely recommend pulling the trigger on it, but you probably already know that. And now we've come to the most valuable game in my NES collection, and I think it's probably my most valuable game, period. And that would be DuckTales 2 in-box, not complete. Now this was a hardcore bro deal that I got in April of 2015 from one of my wife's friends. She really hooked me up with a pretty amazing trade that was definitely skewed more in my favor than hers. This is another game that I talk about in the video I mentioned. Maybe go check that out if you're interested in that story. But as far as the game goes, DuckTales 2 is pretty sweet. The first DuckTales is a great game and is loved by many. I don't think I love it quite as much as many other people do. I think it is charming but extremely flawed. And I think DuckTales 2 actually corrects a lot of those flaws. However, the trade-off is that it, I think, loses some of the charm that the first game had. The music isn't nearly as good. The level design isn't quite as memorable. but the gameplay I think is better, at least in my opinion. Now, price charting has this game valued at about $413. And again, my copy is probably not worth quite that much. It also seemed to be kind of a rental, so it's got lots of scuffs and bruises and stickers on it. The cartridge label had a sticker on it that left a little blemish on it when I tried to remove it. But the condition of the game is not really that important to me. I'm very happy to have it in the collection, and I am super grateful for the generosity of my wife's friends. So thank you very much again, Harmony. So that was the top 10 most valuable NES games in my collection. And have you played any of these games? Do you like any of these games? Hopefully you've at least played and liked the Mega Man games. But comment down below if you want to share your own top valued NES games or Super Nintendo games or Genesis games or whatever system you collect for. Or hey, you can make a video like this and be sure to tag me and probably back in the game or two. I'm sure he'd like to see it. But that is all for now. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Mr. Matthews. Goodbye.